So we talked about a scene survey. And what does that involve?
Checking the number of patients, making sure that this area that you're in is safe.
So scene safe, protect yourself, count the patients. If there's a bunch of patients, you're going to have to go into more of a triage mode than just straight assessment. Do you have enough help? There's enough help coming. A scene survey. Your text covers that very well in lots of detail, lots of examples. Scene survey, pretty well handled. Then you end up with what's called an initial assessment. And that gets us down to a decision point. What's in the initial assessment?
That's when you check for life-threatening conditions.
Yeah, that's your first check for big life threats. So that's level of consciousness, airway, breathing, circulation. Are we going to do CPR on this guy or not? Is he breathing real fast or real slow? Is he unconscious? Is he alert? Level of consciousness, airway, breathing, circulation. It's really fast. It's 30 seconds. It involves checking a radial pulse. So in the first 30 seconds of contact with your patient, we want you to have assessed for a radial pulse. Is it there or not? If it's there, how fast is it? How slow is it? That kind of thing. So initial assessment, level of consciousness, airway, breathing, circulation. Will that be able to find every life threat that might be wrong with this patient? But it will find the obvious ones in most cases, right? You know, does he not have a pulse? Does he have a pulse? Is he breathing? Is there some big major bleed that's obvious? Initial assessment. So then you get to this decision point, and basically you're deciding whether this patient is a hurry up, load and go critical patient, or we're not sure yet. It's not yes, no. It's confirmed, sick, load and go, if he had a problem in the initial assessment. So you flunk any of the four things in initial assessment, level of consciousness, airway, breathing, circulation. You've got to get all four right, or you flunk the initial assessment. Okay? If you flunk the initial assessment, you become a load and go. So at the decision point then, we come over here with the load and go, and that person needs a rapid trauma exam. If he doesn't have a problem in initial assessment, then he goes this way and he gets a focused history and physical. Then eventually, they all get an ongoing exam, and most of them get a detailed exam. The detailed exam is very detailed. That's why they call it the detailed exam. And it takes a while, and it's not looking for life threats anymore. It's looking for everything else that might be going on. And so on your really critical load and go patients, sometimes you get to the hospital before you can get your detail done, and that's just fine. Okay? On the rapid trauma exam, you're going to look at the head quickly, 5 seconds. On the detailed exam, you're going to look at the head in detail. You're going to look for, ear cuts and, cuts in the scalp and broken hairs and eyebrows out of place and every little tiny thing. But on your rapid trauma exam, you're looking for big holes, big bleeds, big boo-boos. You're looking at, big stuff.
Sorry to interrupt. Was it focused? What's that underneath it?
History and physical. So that's kind of the overall format that we're talking about here. What is in a rapid trauma exam? Well, the first thing we know is that it's rapid, right? It should take about a minute, okay? And you're going to get about 5 seconds on the head, about 5 seconds on the neck. We're going to give you about 15 seconds on the chest. We're going to give you about 5 seconds on the abdomen. We're going to give you about 5 seconds on the pelvis. And we're going to give you about 5 seconds on each of the femurs. Head, neck, chest, belly, pelvis, femurs. That's what kills people. Nothing below the knees, nothing down the arms. Head, neck, chest, belly, pelvis, femurs. That's what you're going to check. And you're not going to spend very long doing it. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. We're going to give you 15 seconds or so on the chest. So you should get this done in under a minute. The chest takes a little longer because you have to look, listen, and feel on the chest. Now, what are you looking for? Well, anything big, okay? Large bleeds, large wounds, holes that are sucking air, things that are poking out, big stuff, okay? The whole reason that we're even doing this is that we've identified he has a life-threatening condition. He flunked something in level of conscious airway breathing circulation. We would like to find why or if there's any other things that we can fix. The only reason you would interrupt this or you would interrupt your initial assessment is to fix an immediate life threat. He's not breathing, there's a major bleed, something that you can deal with right then. Otherwise, you need to complete this thing. Now, the rapid trauma exam is not done to determine if he's load and go. It's done because you determined he's load and go. The initial assessment determined load and go. The rapid trauma exam hopes to find out why and what other reasons there might be. It's rapid, but it's not like you need a crowd for this. Okay? If there's 3 of you working this call, one of you needs to do the rapid trauma exam. The other 2 would not need to stand there and watch, because what's going to happen next? What do we decide? He's a load and go. So you all need to get loading and get going, right? So one of you needs to continue to find other stuff while a couple others get your backboard and get ready to go. We would like to have no longer than a 10-minute scene time after the patient is free of whatever entrapment they were in once we've determined their load and go. That may sound like a long time. It's not. That's a rather difficult benchmark to make. So head, neck, chest, belly, pelvis, femurs. You only do this if he's flunked something in initial assessment and you need to get going.